Hello, and welcome to SomerKnits, episode 22. This is also my 1-year podcast anniversary episode, and I'm really excited about the number of things that I have to share with you. I'm not going to lie, I've struggled today with my energy level and my motivation for filming. While I really wanted to share all of the exciting things for my 1-year anniversary, I am just drained from end of school year activities with the kids. So I'm going to do my best to remember everything. I've made notes and just to keep my energy level up and hopefully share some of this excitement that I have on reaching this milestone with you. Hopefully it really comes across because the podcast has been an amazing experience so far and one I am not ready to walk away from. Definitely planning to continue. I have met so many wonderful people and made so many knitting friends all over the world. It's just been a real joy to be part of this online community. So as a thank you for being here with me, whether you are a brand new viewer or somebody who's been watching since the beginning, I have a whole lot of things to give away and talk about throughout this episode. There have been some wonderful donations. This is my very first ever episode with gifted and sponsored items, so bear with me on that as well. I want to do justice to the wonderful makers who have generously donated to help me celebrate. So thank you for being here. And just to keep things moving, I am going to scatter the giveaway stuff throughout the entire episode. There's not just one chunk of here's all the things. So I'm going to follow my normal format, but I will be throwing the giveaway things in here and there where they seem to fit best. And my small dog may decide that he's going to be an issue. Also, let's start with what I'm wearing because it is hot here and I might not make it through this entire episode in this sweater. I completely failed to show this sweater as a finished object. Come here, baby. In my last episode. I don't know why. I don't know what I was thinking because I spent so much time on this and it was a joy to knit and I loved doing it. And when I sat down to film the last episode, I think in my mind it had already been done because I talked about it so many times that in my mind I think that I had already shared the finished object, but I hadn't. So this is my Shifty sweater by Andrea Mowry. It has no positive ease at the bust line. So it is 0 ease, maybe even slightly negative. And the pattern does recommend that if you're unsure on the size, the overwhelming majority of pattern testers found that going with as close to 0 ease or negative 2 inches of ease gave the absolute best fit overall. And I agree. Generally, I go for some positive ease in my garments, but the way this sweater fits is amazing. And it's hard to show that sitting down. So I definitely plan to insert some pictures. I will try and stand up and show you, and hopefully it's not super awkward. So it hits, here is my hip bone at the height of my hips. And so it hits mid-hip, high range of mid-hip. It has nice long ribbing on the body, just 1 inch ribbing on the cuffs. But I did do a sewn bind off for both, and I love the way that detailing looks. And I just really enjoyed making this sweater. The rhythmic movement of this stitch pattern was just absolutely a joy to knit, and I didn't feel like the sleeves were nearly as tedious as standard stockinette sleeves. Maybe that was the color changes in the dyed in the wool. I did use Gusto Yarn Gray Day, which is, I think, an exclusive to one of my local yarn stores. It was Loops when I bought the yarn, but is now Knit Stars. And then I used dyed in the wool and Castle, and the other 3 colors, which I always get mixed up. One is the Saddest Place. I think that's the one with the turquoise in it. One of them is Bruised Ego, and the other one is Absolute Zero. I think the Absolute Zero is the darker purples and the Bruised Ego is the more red purples, but I do tend to get them mixed up. But anyway, silly dog. That is my Shifty sweater, which was my first entry this year in the DRK March to May knit-along. And that leads me into my second finished object for this episode, which is also my second entry into the DRK March to May knit-along. This is the first year that I have done 2 entries. Previously, I've just done 1 sweater each time. I feel like my sweater knitting's got a little bit faster. I don't know if maybe I'm knitting more monogamously on my sweaters, or I've just become familiar enough with the construction that things move along more quickly. But I did another version of the striped sweater, and I did a striped sweater last year, but I did a short sleeve version. If you've been here a while, you might remember me talking about this is Fiber for the People Hemp Merino Sport. So it is a hemp merino blend. I believe 30% hemp and 70% merino. You can see how the hemp is lighter and doesn't take the dye quite like the merino does. So you get these lighter flecks throughout the yarn, which gives the color a bit of depth, which is a really neat effect. The drape of the fabric is just amazing. I did find, however, after blocking and wearing this t-shirt one day without a camisole underneath it, that on hotter days it is going to have some prickle factor, and I am going to want that barrier between it and my skin, mostly right here where my skin is more sensitive. I didn't have any issue on my arms or lower on my torso, but I did have a little bit of prickle or itch factor right in the front. And for some of us, that is a more sensitive area. So just be aware of that. It is still, I still love the drape of this yarn. It's still amazing. It was great in the hands to work with. I know some people have trouble with plant fibers. I didn't have any issues with this. I did use a stripes pattern from a different pattern. So the fit of the sweater is the DRK stripes sweater pattern, but the striping sequence in the colors is from the Chloe sweater. And then because I wanted a little more length on the bottom, the last pink stripe is a bit longer. I added another stripe of Winter, which is the lighter blue color, before I went on to the ribbing in Compote. And I did do 2 rows of regular stockinette before I started the ribbing so that the ribbing wouldn't be jarring. Because if you've done a lot of sweaters and color changes, you'll know that if you go straight into ribbing without adding a round of stockinette, the pearls are going to show the color shift. So anyway, that is how I did my striped sweater. I wanted the sleeves to be the same length as my Fallen Lace tee from last, I think I finished it in like August or September. I don't remember now. But I put that tee on, saw where the sleeves hit, and then just kept using the Knitting Barber cords to be able to try this one on to see where these sleeves hit. And so that was my goal, and it worked out really well because there was a large stripe of the Compote right here, and it happened that the sleeve length was perfect to do the Winter stripe to match so that everything matches the body. And then go straight into the ribbing on the Compote. And once again, it was, I think, 1 or 2 rounds of stockinette before starting the ribbing. But that gave it just the right length on the sleeves and made it so that all of the ribbing is in the same color. And that just worked out like magic. I totally didn't plan for that, but once I saw that I thought that's how it was going to hit, I was really happy. And it made me think about how I should have actually planned for it, and I just got really lucky that it worked out that way. So I am super thrilled with this tee. It is a sport weight, so it's a little warm right now. It is 91 degrees today outside, which is why I may not last super long in this sweater. So it has gotten hot and humid in Oklahoma. We are already to the sticky part of the summer, and that is unfortunate. We went from 60-degree days to 90-degree days overnight, and we didn't have a transition time. So that's been difficult. I am in the process of washing and packing up all of my sweaters for the summer. I have sweater bags, and I got new cedar sachets, new lavender. So I'm in the process of making sure everything is clean and nice and packing it away. So I actually did just wash this sweater again. So hopefully I don't wear it so long that I sweat on it and it can just get packed up. But these are my 2 entries into the DRK March to May knit along. And I'm not sure that I have anything super related to that as far as that goes, but I did want to mention that a number of the people who have given things for this episode are small designers. So while there are amazing large designers like Andrea Mowry out there, there are also a ton of small designers who are doing their best to reach larger audiences and stuff. And so I'm very excited to be able to support them. But we will get to that. I do have a very exciting finished object. If you've been here since the beginning, or if you went back and watched early episodes, you will recognize this particular project, because it was a whip in my very first episode, and I just wove in the ends this morning. It seemed only fitting to share it as a finished object on my 1-year podcast anniversary episode. I have not blocked these items yet because I didn't want them to be wet for filming, and like I said, I just did the ends this morning. But I have finished the Clearly Determined socks. So this is a cabled sock, and I realized after I started, but wasn't willing to rip out, that I chose the wrong yarn for a cabled sock. It is way too busy, way too speckly. Now, we may get more definition from this cable once it is blocked, and it's very hard to show here. I'm not sure if it's focusing on it. But the cable starts out as a braid up here, runs down the heel flap and also down the side of the foot. And then you have this texture pattern in the middle, and then a stockinette base so that you're not walking on the texture pattern. And I finished one of them a while ago. I don't remember now. I'd have to look at my notes, and shared it. But I finished the second one yesterday, and I'm so excited. This one does appear to have pooled a little bit darker than this one on the heel, but who knows, if you flip them around it might be different. Overall, I'd say they look identical. I did a mid-height as far as the leg, and I forget how many rows I did in the foot. I counted them on the first one, but then on the second one, I actually just counted the purl ridges down the foot. And so I knew once I hit 21 purl ridges that I had finished the foot of the sock and could start the toe, because that was going to match the first one. So far they fit great. We'll see after blocking. The yarn was, I'm going to have to put it on the screen because I don't remember. I believe the colorway was Galileo or something. But I have so much of it left over that it could definitely be a shorty pair. It could be in a sea glass tee. It could be part of a scrappy Musselburgh hat. Lots of options, because I do think the yarn is beautiful. It has so many colors in it. There's like some deep purples and flecks of blue and flecks of hot pink and just so many other things happening in this yarn. I just think it's gorgeous. So these really were a joy to knit. I know that that seems weird since it took me so long to finish them, but part of that was just needing to reference the pattern and get into the rhythm. But I feel like I've gotten better at reading my smaller knitting, like tiny stitch style knitting. Like I can read my large stitch style knitting pretty quickly and easily. And I think that I felt like I needed to reference the pattern more than I really did, because each time I got into a rhythm on them, I got to where I wasn't looking at it. And then I'd set them down for a long time and forget that it was easily memorizable. The most difficult part being keeping in the cable pattern. Once you're here, the cable pattern gets very simple, but this part I had more trouble with remembering, just memorizing it. It wasn't actually trouble to knit. But I have these on my Knitting Left sock witch sock blockers, which I love. I think they're very cute, little sock witch. And I will actually soak them when I'm done filming and block them for real because I'm very excited to wear them. I really want to end up with 2 full little cedar boxes of socks for myself. And not just house socks, but like actual socks that I can wear out and be proud of. So that was it for finished objects. And now I have some works in progress. But first I want to share that the lovely Brogan of Woolly Witchcraft has said that she will give a pattern to a viewer. And if you would like to look her up on YouTube or Instagram, I'll put her information right here and down in the description box. She has some lovely patterns. I was able to test knit her biscuit tin socks in the shortbread pattern. It was a set of 3 socks. And I believe they were all DK weight socks. I know that the pair I test knit was fingering weight held double. So I believe that that's 3 DK weight patterns. She also has a lovely headscarf called Bear, I think. So just some very nice, and some colorwork socks. I believe she has colorwork sock patterns as well. So Brogan has some lovely things, and I would love if you could go take a peek at her stuff. For all the giveaway items, it's preferred that you be subscribed to the channel, since this is a celebration of a year of podcasting and of all the people who have supported me throughout that. So in order to win, please make sure that you are subscribed, and also give the episode a thumbs up. And then we will have further instructions on what to leave in the comments in a little bit. I do want to start on my whips, because I have actually found new joy in an old whip. I needed some more mindless knitting, and I realized that I was on the body of my Elfmail, and at that point it is fairly mindless. I mean, it's only a 2-round repeat, and one of the rounds is just knit. So it's not hard to do and talk. It's not hard to do and watch TV. But mostly I needed something small enough to throw in my bag and take with me places. Sorry, I've got little ends all over the place. So I have made progress. I know it doesn't look like a lot, but I have made progress on my Elfmail body. It's hard to see because it is so bunched up, but I believe that I have put in a good 1.5 or 2 inches in the last couple of weeks, and that's only working on it in car line before picking up the kids, or for a couple moments waiting on somebody. It hasn't been big swatches of time of sitting around. I did go to a brunch last weekend where I worked on it off and on a little bit as people were talking. But for the most part, it's just been here and there, and progress is being made. And I feel like any progress is good progress. So very excited to have this. The more I work on it and the more I look at it, I'm feeling like it might be a short sleeve sweater for me, but I really want to finish the body and put it on and see how I feel about it. In fact, I might slip it onto some Knitting Barber cords later and put it on and see where I want the length to fall, because I know where I am in comparison with the pattern recommended length, but everybody prefers a different length. And that's, I mean, the amazing thing about knitting is that we can customize. And so I feel like I want to put it on, see exactly where I want it to hit on my body and knit to that point, and then see where I want to hit with the sleeves. But I'm still loving the color. I'm still loving the way it looks. If you haven't been here before or don't remember because it's been a while, the gray is Show Me yarn in Ash Grove, and the contrast color, which is in a little sleeve, is Mrs. Peacock by, I think it is 316 yarn. Oh, now it has escaped my mind, but I will put it right here on the screen. And I'm excited to have found that mojo again, because I think what was frustrating me is it felt like it wasn't, like it was taking a long time to see progress. And I do think I need to start using progress keepers to mark where I am when things like that happen, because then I'll be able to see easier. Because sometimes when you're in the body of something, it's like being on Sleeve Island. When you're in the body of something, it can feel like you've just been doing the same thing over and over and over again for a really long time. And sometimes it's hard to see the growth. But the growth is actually there. And so I'm excited for that. And I'm also excited I got these yarns last summer at Fiber Christmas in July, and that will be coming up again at the end of July this year. And I'm hopeful to have it finished by then and be able to show the dyers, the vendors who brought the yarn, what I did. Because I think a lot of dyers like to see what you've done with their yarn. I try and always tag the dyers if I can remember. I've been trying to tag Taylor anytime I post about my stripes, because she is the dyer behind Fiber for the People, and a really lovely person, and I want her to see what I did with what she made. Just like I like to see pictures of people wearing or using things that I made for them. I think that these artists like to see what we've done with their creations. And along that vein, one of the amazing things that has been donated for this episode is that Pancake and Lulu. If you'll remember the rainy day pullover that I did with the lace yoke in the silk merino singles and Surrey alpaca. Sorry, I think I have fiber in my nose. It was, the softest, drapiest sweater ever. Anyway, it was in that gorgeous periwinkle in time color. That was hand dyed by Pancake and Lulu, and she is on Etsy, and I will put her information here and down below in the description box. Ooh. But she has offered a discount of 15% to all of my viewers, not just one person, but everyone. So this is one thing where everyone wins. The code is SUMMER15. And it is 1 use per customer in the month of May. Today's May 18th. Hopefully I can get this edited and up right away. You have till the end of the month to order. Her turnaround time is very quick for custom dyed yarn. I have been very impressed. I know a lot of dyers have a 6 to 8 week turnaround depending on their workload, which it's amazing that they have enough workload to have that kind of wait time, but also, sometimes you just want it right away. And I have been very impressed with her turnaround time. It is amazing. And the range of colors that she offers is incredible. So I would encourage you to check her out either on Instagram or look at her Etsy shop. Give her a like or a follow if you feel so inclined. It's really helpful when you do those things. And if you do, feel free to tell her I sent you. And if you order something with the code SUMMER15, I'm sure she'll see. But I wanted to share that with everyone because I was so thrilled with my order from her. I mean, the petite knit sweater that I did in January. Was that January? Yes. The no frills sweater. The light purple color that I held with the woolly knit cone, that was also a Pancake and Lulu color. And then all the yarn for the rainy day sweater was Pancake and Lulu. So thank you so much to Pancake and Lulu for offering this discount code for everyone. I'd like to move on to my next work in progress. You have seen it before, but I've made a little more progress. This is my daily sock. And I haven't worked on it in the last few days because I need to determine which of my kids it's for, and then I will know how long to knit the foot. So I kind of stopped where I was certain it wasn't too long for either of them, because my little one, he's still got tiny feet. And every time I think about it, it's not a convenient time to pull their shoes and socks off, or they have dirty, sweaty little feet. And I need to just try it on them and see which one of them it fits better. It's the child size, so I'm having a feeling it's going to be too tight for my 10-year-old, and it's going to fit my 6-year-old better, which is why I stopped right now. But if it happens to fit the 10-year-old, I'm going to make it to her length so that they can be worn longer and passed down. So far, they're both really good with their hand knit socks, and knock on wood, they have not worn them out. So far, so good, right? But it has this really bouncy texture pattern. My ring light has died now, I'm sorry. It's got this really bouncy texture pattern on top of the foot and all the way around the ankle. And then it is a stockinette bottom. It's a super easy to memorize 4-row repeat, and I would highly recommend this pattern. It is the Daily Socks by Summer Lee Design Co. She happens to be an Oklahoman also and is currently local to me in Tulsa. I had been following her for a long time before she mentioned that she had moved back to Tulsa, so I did not know that when I purchased a number of her patterns, but I'm very excited that she's around here. She is doing this next season of Knit Stars, if you're interested in that, but I am using, I guess I should tell you about that, just the Berrocco Sox. It feels like it's going to be fairly hard wearing. It is a 75% superwash wool, 25% nylon. I love how it's got different widths of stripes coming up, and it's just fun colors for the kids. And like I said, it feels like it's going to be hard wearing, and it's not expensive sock yarn, so I'm not going to worry about if I find them running around in their socks outside, in shoes outside, I wouldn't want them just running around just their socks outside. That'd be terrible. Anyway, speaking of Summer Lee Design Co., she has also offered to donate a pattern. I'm uncertain if that's a specific pattern or a pattern of your choice. We talked about it, and I have not been able to get back in touch with her about what she wanted to do, but that will be one of the things that I'm going to draw for. I hadn't really decided what to have people talk about in order to be entered for the giveaway. Just make a comment, something with the words podcast anniversary or something, so that I can do a comment picker. And like I said, I'm going to be drawing for so many prizes. But if you do that, you'll be entered for all of them. There is something coming later that will have another entry possibility. But for everything else, if you'll just leave some kind of comment here on the podcast about the podcast anniversary, then you will be entered to win the various prizes. So anyway, I think these are cute. They aren't going to be like my main knit, but I would love to finish that pair because I am interested in doing a few pairs of socks over the summer for summer sock camp, and more about that in a little bit. My next work in progress is a test knit for the lovely Hannah of Herbgarden Knitwear, and this I have not shown before because this started since the last podcast episode. I went back and forth on yarn, so I actually ordered 2 different yarns and settled on a yarn I had never used before, but it is the... So even when my camera's on, sometimes my screen will turn off, which is very silly. But this is Holst Yarn Coast, which is 55% lambswool, 45% cotton. The test knit for this pattern, the recommended yarn was GGH Lacy, which is a, it's kind of an odd in-between weight. It is not as super fine as lace weight, and it is not as thick as fingering weight. So the Holst Yarn Coast and Holst Tides actually came out to the same yards per gram as the GGH Lacy. So those were a little easier for me to get. I was able to find the GGH Lacy online, but not in colors I loved. And I am kind of color picky because I want to love the things that I spend a lot of time on. The Holst Coast had the most colors that I liked. And then Holst Tides also had some colors that I liked. So I ordered both. But the Coast had the brighter colors, and I really was leaning towards that. So I'll show you the Tides I got later during acquisitions. But I ended up going with Coast. And I ended up choosing to start with this purple and then transition to this aqua, and now the body will be in this cobalt. And I think I talked about that I was doing the test knit in the last episode, and I think I showed a picture of the t-shirt. But basically, I'm up here in the yoke right now, and the whole rest of the body will be in this dark cobalt. So I'm finished with the first 2 colors. It's hard to show because it is on these smaller needles, and of course, all my ends have gotten tangled in the bag when I wasn't looking. Of course, when I pulled this out earlier and worked on it for a little bit, it was fine. And then when I want to show it on the podcast, it is a tangled mess. But that's okay. I love how the colors have come together. I love the way she's done the transition. It's not a harsh transition. It's a fade in. And it's not just your standard every other row fade in. It is a pretty clever fade in that I think just works really well with the linen stitch and looks lovely. If you're not familiar with linen stitch, it is, it's a very delicate stitch where you knit one, slip one with yarn in front, so you always have this bar in front, and instead of it being a bump like a purl, it's just a bar. It does mean that you want to use bigger needles than you normally would with the same yarn. So for instance, these are US size 8 needles, even though this yarn is between a fingering and a lace weight. It is 383 yards per 50 grams. So, you know, it is closer to a lace weight than it is to a fingering weight. And yet these are 5mm needles. I believe US 8 is 5mm. So I'm wearing contacts to try and deal with the glare. But it also means I can't focus super close up, so like I can't read the printing on the needles with my contacts in. Just a quirk. But so you definitely, if you're going to do linen stitch ever, you typically use a much bigger needle than you normally would with the same weight of yarn. And I had only done linen stitch before on like at least DK or worsted weight yarn. And so some days I struggle with feeling like this is very slow. The fabric is beautiful. I did actually block the upper part of the yoke while it was still just the purple, because I wanted to make sure that my stitch gauge was still correct. And I wanted to see how it blocked out. It's kind of frightening because the neck opening looks giant, But I did block it and try it on my body, so I do actually know where it lays. And it is a very open neckline. It's not closed like a lot of sweaters. It's much more open. But it looks huge, right? When we're used to seeing these little tiny necklines for sweaters, or even, like this neckline for this t-shirt, this just seems big. So I was a little scared. So I did put it on cords, and I did block it and put it on, see where it hung, how it laid. And when I get to the sleeve separation, I will likely do that again, because it is a test knit and I do want to give appropriate feedback. So, the test knit goal is to finish the yoke before the 1st of June, which I'm very hopeful that I can do. Even though it feels slow, I do feel like I have made decent progress. And like I said, I'm loving how it looks. I'm loving how it feels. The Holst Coast is going to be a lovely summer yarn for where I live. It feels like it's going to be so light and breezy. It weighs almost nothing. I'm very much looking forward to having this t-shirt finished, and I'm very excited about it. And Hannah's been wonderful to test knit for. If you are ever considering applying for one of her test knits, I do highly recommend. She's been great to work with. So that is my last work in progress. I do want to mention that if you'll remember that I've talked about Britt, the Marvelous Mrs. Maker, before, and some of her amazing designs. I've done a bunch of her Borealis beanie, and I have other patterns of hers that I have not yet knit, like her Tutti Frutti, and I was going to do that test knit earlier in the spring that she decided to put on hold, which I fully support. Britt has also offered to donate a pattern. I would love it if you would give her a like or a follow on Instagram if you can. She does have a bunch of tutorials here on YouTube, and that is a great resource. She has tutorials on different stitches and intarsia and just different techniques that you might need. But just at least giving her a look or a like, that helps. It helps with reach. It helps small designers to reach more people. So thank you, Britt, the Marvelous Mrs. Maker. You are so much appreciated. She has been an amazing person to talk to. I knew her from before podcasting days. Actually, we're both draped light summer in the True Color International or 12 Blueprints seasonal color analysis. And so that is how we became friends, not through knitting, but actually through our color drapings. And since we're both light summer, for a long time, I would send her photos of things and being like, how's this look? Does this look right? And I know it's hard to translate color through photos and the internet and all that, but she was super helpful to me when I first did that, and also my image archetyping. And you can Google those things and learn more about them, because that is a whole rabbit hole of its own. So feel free to dive straight into that. But it does help me narrow down my color choices a lot. I feel like this is going to fall directly into my color palette, like seamlessly, totally. This is definitely darker than my typical color palette. Much more muted than the things I normally make. It was what was speaking to me at the time. I do feel like maybe the winter came out a bit softer than I thought it was. Softer in, it feels like more of a soft season than light summer has a lot of clarity of color, and lots of words, hard to describe. But if you think about beaches and popsicles and early spring flowers and things, that is light summer. And this is definitely more muted. I think that this fleece color might fall into my neutrals, but altogether they do come out quite a bit darker than what I typically knit. I don't think it looks bad. It's just not my absolute best. Whereas when I do pick my best colors, it really shows. So that does help me narrow down my yarn purchases sometimes, just knowing that that particular color will or won't look great on me. So let's see, it's acquisitions now. And before I dive into acquisitions, the other designer I want to mention is Laura from Penrose Knits has offered to donate a souffle top pattern, and I love her souffle tops. She has so many right now. She has the original that's mohair, that's single on top and held double underneath, and it's got the ruff. I don't know where it froze. So anyway, she has her mohair version, and then she has a chunky version and a child's version, and her summer version is currently in testing. And I'm very excited about that one because I happen to have the recommended yarn, I believe, in exactly the right amount to do it. So when that is released, I might be purchasing that to use my Knitting for Olive Cotton Merino that I have from their sale to support the Ukraine. So I'm excited about that. But this is a copy of her original souffle top pattern that is the mohair held single on the top, the ruffle, and mohair held double throughout the body. And I think it just has a really beautiful, elegant, classic look to it, while still being really fun and flirty. And thank you so much, Laura. Laura has been answering my questions since the beginning, answering my questions about editing with iMovie and answering my questions about just the podcast in general. And she's just been so lovely and supportive. And I really want to say thank you to her. I feel like everybody knows who Laura is, but if you are unfamiliar with Laura, please go give her a look on Instagram or on YouTube. She has taken a step back from recording quite as often because she is designing so much right now. And I understand that. Sometimes you just have a creative brain explosion on one front and you just want to stick with it. And I absolutely support that. She has done some amazing design work. I am crossing my fingers to test knit her Chantilly cardigan coming up, and you can see sneak peeks of that on her stuff, but it is a cardigan with a ruffle collar that I think is just gorgeous. So fingers crossed I get into that test knit, but I am definitely applying. So acquisitions. I have the rest of that Holst garn. And so I have one more ball of the cobalt, like I'm using for my Sunkissed CT. And then I have the colors that I got if I decided to use Holst Tides, which Tides is a 70% wool, 30% silk, 314 yards to 50 grams. It's actually a closer match to the GGH Lacy, which is also a wool and silk blend. Weight-wise and yardage-wise, it is a slightly closer match. So that could be why I feel like it's taking forever to make progress, because it is a slightly thinner yarn on the coast than the Tides. Anyway, I had gotten this navy as the main color, this light purple as the neckline, and this deep berry color, which actually came darker than I thought from the pictures online, as the middle transition color. So this would have been the color scheme if I had gone with the Holst Tides. Runaway yarn. The Tides has a slightly heathered look to it, at least the colors I got did. Less so this pink than the navy and the purple. So I did kind of wonder, even though it's such a small section, if it would look odd that two of them have a more heathered look and one of them has a more solid look to it. I didn't know if that would end up looking strange. Also, these colors came much more muted than the Coast. And I liked the feel. I swatched with Coast. I didn't swatch with Tides. I probably should have swatched with both. It's, who knows? Maybe I would feel like I was making more progress if I was using a just slightly thicker yarn. But I ended up liking the Coast colors so much that I felt like I would appreciate the finished object more if I did them in that. But that's not to say I don't like these colors. And so I have 3 skeins of the navy. It's called Nightshade. I have 2 skeins of the purple. It's called Iris. And I have 1 skein of the fuchsia colorway. And you can see how that's not quite as bright as what I think of the color fuchsia. But I have 1 skein of fuchsia, 2 skeins of purple, 3 skeins of navy. So definitely enough to do another summer top. And I would just have to decide on a pattern. Or, who knows? Maybe I'll need a second Sunkissed CT. We'll just have to see. But that was a fun acquisition because I had never used any Holst yarn before. I didn't realize that there were as many places in the U.S. that carried it as there are. I was able to find some good places with good deals on the yarn and get it fairly quickly and easily. So I ended up ordering from the Yarnery. I forget where they are local to. And I ordered some stickers from them too. And now I'm not remembering where I put them. I'll look for them in a little bit. And if I do find them, I will pop them in. But they say 1 yarn and they have a rainbow of yarns. I got the square one where they're going across and the circular one where they're going around, and they are their Pride stickers that they have. They had some other cute ones that were sold out, but it being Pride Month next month and going into, I like to support and make sure that it is obvious that I am 100% behind everyone. How do you phrase that? Start over. I absolutely support the LGBTQA+, I'm not sure the whole acronym now, and I'm sorry if I'm leaving anyone out, community, and I thought the stickers were beautiful, and I just wanted to purchase them both because they're pretty and to show my support, and they're gorgeous, and I can't wait to stick them on something, but I don't know what yet. So I think one might go on my water bottle because they are bright and happy and pretty. Last acquisition, I think. Yes, because last episode, I showed you my most recent Southern Skeins box. I gotta get a drink. All this talking. I thought about making myself a latte before we started, but then I knew I wouldn't sip on it very much, and it would be cold by the end. Instead, I'm currently on a kombucha kick. It's my mother's fault. So I have Brew Doctor Island Mango. It's delicious. Some kombuchas taste like drinking vinegar. That's a no. But some of them are more like fizzy juice, and that one's a yes. So, fizzy juice, Brew Doctor Island Mango. Back to Southern Skeins. So I showed my most recent Southern Skeins box on my last episode. I have not gotten another one since then, okay? But she did offer to donate a box, I think one of this month's boxes, for the podcast anniversary. So she is going to send that to me. I think it's already on its way. And I will send it to whoever wins. So it is open internationally. Anybody can win. I will be shipping it myself so that she doesn't have to deal with, it'll be shipped as a gift. So that there's not customs issues from her business. It will just be shipped as a gift from me to whoever wins. And there are 2 ways to enter for that. The standard entry below saying something about the podcast anniversary, And also you can tag Southern Skeins and myself in either a post or stories on Instagram. I know stories disappear, so I am actually going to be logging in and making notes of everyone who tags me and the podcast on Instagram, and that will enter you to win the Southern Skeins box. And I'm not sure if she's sending a sock box or a not sock box. I do not know what the extra goodies are for this month, so it's going to be a surprise to both of us. If it's the same as the box that I ordered for this month, I will hold off on showing my box until after the winner has received theirs, so that it is still a surprise. So it might be that I don't show my box on the next episode and I hold on to it for one more. But I want it to be a joy for you as well. So comment below and tag us on Instagram in either a post or a story, however you want to do that. Just something happy and supportive. I mean, that should go without saying, but it's all about the joy right now. And I just, I want to share the joy and spread the joy. Also, I would like to increase my reach, just because I love the interaction that I get from the podcast, and I love meeting new people. So, and I realize I don't reshare your stories, but I am very happy when you tag me on Instagram. I still haven't told my family I have a podcast, and that's going to be kind of hilarious how many times I mention that if I ever do and they go back and watch old episodes. But I still want to be able to share gift knits. I still get imposter syndrome. It's not something that's come up. So it's one of those things where I don't necessarily reshare your tags, but I love and appreciate every single one of them, and they make me very happy. So thank you for that. And don't forget that I have both a referral code and a referral link for Southern Skeins where you can get a discount anytime you order. Feel free to use those, and those will be, I'll put the referral code here, but I will pop the link in the bottom, in the description box, and that is for everyone. So thank you. And I think currently she only ships to the US and Canada, but if you desperately want something, her shipping is free. So feel free to have it sent here and I will send it on to you. Like, that is not a problem. One more big acquisition. Okay, not big. Two more. Sorry. We'll do small acquisition first. So I did order a few things for Summer Sock Camp. One of them is a t-shirt. I have worn it recently and it's in the laundry, and my goal is to shrink it because I overestimated the amount of positive ease that I would want. You'd think as a knitter that I would be better able to judge, but I ordered the flowy tee in a large, and it is definitely, it's too big at the top, so my goal is to shrink it a little bit. But I also ordered some stickers for Summer Sock Camp. I'm hoping to put one of them on the roof box for our car. And then I got some for the different cabins. There was one cabin I didn't get because it didn't seem like something I associated with. But there's one for Magic Loop Cabin, one for 9-inch circulars, and one for DPNs. And those are the three methods I plan to use for Summer Sock Camp this summer. So I am planning to do some socks. I will not be exclusively doing socks because I am still definitely more garment motivated, but I really like the logo for Summer Sock Camp this year. If you are unfamiliar with Summer Sock Camp, it is hosted by the Crazy Sock Lady. So feel free to go check out her YouTube channel, The Crazy Sock Lady, or her Instagram. It is really just a giant sock knit along. There's things to make it fun and interesting, but if you break it down to its most basic, it is a giant sock knit along that is done for the summer. And I believe the cast on date is like May 28th or May 26th or something. I need to look again. But I am getting my yarns ready, And part of finishing those socks was an initiative she called Clear the Needles for camp. So when I post my finished objects photos of those socks, I will be hashtagging them with Clear the Needles for camp, because part of the goal is to have your sock needles cleared off and ready for cast on day, because whips are not allowed. This is definitely there's a hard cast on date for summer sock camp. But I thought everything she had this year was really fun. And then the summer sock camp shop, as far as yarns and project bags and other things like that, will open, I think, on the cast on weekend. So check out her YouTube or Instagram to learn more about summer sock camp. And I know there's a lot of people who participate in it all over the world. It's a big knit along. Now, one of my acquisitions came with a prize for you all. If you'll remember, I got this large sweater size project bag from, at the time, her name was Farmhouse Sewing Cafe. She has since changed her name to Rose and Seams because she wanted something that incorporated both knitting and sewing. So this is the Summer Flowers bag, and it's lined with this other summer floral print that I just love. It is padded, has a nice rectangular bottom, and a big handle. I've been using it both as a project bag and a purse. It holds so much, full sweater and everything. But when she did her shop update of her summer items, I really wanted this super springy looking, sorry for the crinkling, let me just get it out of the way. Okay. Camping themed bag. So it's smaller, more of a sock, put a t-shirt in it. I was thinking about actually moving my Sunkissed CT, maybe now that I'm down to just one color, to it, but we'll see. But it is, once again, it is a padded bag, and it's got a pocket inside. It's actually got two sections of the pocket. There's a small section for a crochet hook or a pencil, and a larger pocket. This one is a drawstring, so cinches up at the top. It does have the nice little carry handle, so you can walk and knit, or use it as a little wristlet purse. It does have the nice flat bottom, and it has little campers and tents all over it. And to go with that, I got the tiny Notions pouch, which can clip onto something. I love the lace detailing along the zipper. And then it is lined with the floral fabric from the top of this drawstring bag. I did purchase this. This was not a gift. These were a purchase. The gift that came with it was she knows I like yarn cozies. She made me a yarn cozy that matches these items. And so I'm very excited about that. So when we get to the point in the summer that we have our summer road trip, I have these like camping themed coordinating project bag and Notions bag and everything. And I'm not that I'm going to wait that long to use it, but I am super excited to have them because there's nothing like coordinating themes. Oh, and then she always sends a cute little sticker, and there's a few of the light bulb stitch markers. So very excited about that, and thank you so much. And a big thank you for donating a prize. She donated another bag, and this bag is for one of you. So this is, I'll take it out, but I've been trying to keep it in the package to keep it perfect and clean for you, so that when you receive it, it is absolutely 100% brand new. This is, it's got the same floral inside, same outside. This is a drawstring version of what I have. I think it's slightly shorter, like by an inch, I think she said. But it will hold a ton. And I actually think this might be her reversible one. I think it is. I should have asked her the details before I started, but I'm looking at it now thinking, I think that that is the reversible summer bag. So you can totally turn it to this bright floral outside and have that inside. Because it's fully reversible, there's no pocket, but I mean, how amazing is it? It's so pretty, and perfect for spring and summer knitting. It's just gorgeous. It is, once again, a drawstring, nice and big. And to enter for this bag, once again, all the comments about the podcast anniversary will be for an entry into all the drawings, but to get an extra entry into the bag drawing, you can, same thing as with Southern Skeins, you can tag us on Instagram. Make sure that you tag me so I can see it, but also Rose and Seams. I'd love it if you would give her a like, check out her Etsy. I believe that the discount code WELCOME10 for 10% off your order is still active. But you could win this project bag absolutely 100% free. Just anything, a post or a story on Instagram where you tag both of us. I will be taking note of those. I'm going to leave all of the giveaway stuff open for 2 weeks. Hopefully that gives everyone enough time, but I do want to get things drawn and sent out. Or I guess I could do, like, I should have looked at a calendar. Let me look at a calendar real fast. Yeah, 2 weeks is June 1st. And so that's perfect. I think that 2 weeks is good. So I will do all these drawings in 2 weeks. So feel free to give her a like, anything to post to say thank you for the giveaway, or to direct people here to see the episode and enter for the giveaway would be awesome. So you can do that for extra entries, and all the comments below about the podcast anniversary will be entered for all the drawings. Let me check and see if there is anything I have missed. We have the free copy of the souffle top from Laura of Penrose Knits, 15% off for everyone at Pancake and Lulu, one free pattern from Summer Lee. She's a sock designer, so I think she mostly has sock patterns and a few garments. One free pattern from Woolly Witchcraft, a free pattern from Britt, the Marvelous Mrs. Maker, and I believe that's going to be one of her summer patterns. I have sent her a message to ask if she had a preference of which one. I know I was so on top of this like 2 weeks ago, and then fell behind in my organizing. So it could be, I'm hoping that it's either her Tutti Frutti top or her Afterglow top. Her Afterglows have amazing necklines. Or she's got a really cute summer skirt. I think it's called the Banana Boat skirt. So one of those. The bag from Rose and Seams, and the surprise box from Southern Skeins. So that is a whole lot of amazing stuff that we have been provided here. And so thank you so much to everyone who gave something to the podcast. And thank you so much for every single person who comes to watch. Every like, every subscribe means the world to me, but also just getting to know you has been invaluable. To have this community. I am always open to your messages on Instagram. I am always open to a chat. I love questions in the comments. I love talking to you. I like when you tell me what you're working on or what inspires you. And I really love when I get tagged by people who I have inspired. So I think my husband just got home. I gotta go.